Welcome back. We are talking free trade matters. We have with us Abraham Kamau, the CEO of Miradi Capital, taking us through this. Abraham, before we went on break, we were talking about discussing the overlapping preferential trade areas of the PTA and members being in most of those. And case in point is Tanzania being a member of PTA, being a member of SADC, and pulling each card whenever it feels necessary or it suits them. Do you think that the continental free trade area that is in place right now will collapse all this?
I think it will, and I think how it will do it is that one, because people are normally resistant to leave those kind of agreements.
Yeah.
They'll first try to push them from being PTAs into FTAs.
Yeah.
Because when that happens, at least whether people take forever to move, the impact is minimal.
Yeah.
But when they're at PTA, there are serious implications in terms of tariff.
Yeah.
Because they are now stuck between two, a PTA and an FTA. So even if they move, because even the continental one is an FTA, if they move these ones, all the regional ones to be FTAs, then at least now the overlap is only academic.
Yeah.
But it will not have tariff implication.
Yeah.
But eventually, I think they'll fold.
Yeah.
Because now if you're in an FTA that does exactly what the bigger one does, then I think it will just die a natural death.
Or the PTAs will just...
Yeah, because now the FTAs now, like ESC becomes a pure FTA, it will be doing exactly what the bigger one is doing. So we'll keep focusing on the bigger one, and then this one will just die.
Yeah, and then the ESC FTA will just die.
Because we will just be keeping it, otherwise we'll be keeping it just for legacy reasons.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and tell me about... so the next thing is you said that as we progress at the tail end, we also have the common currency.
Yes, because we have to go into a customs union where now our borders have the same tariff to come in. Now the whole of we draw a big wall around Africa, and you say to get into Africa, this is the tariff, no matter where you get it from. Yeah. And then now once that settles, then now you can go into monetary union, where now we have a single central bank. Yeah. And then with one currency. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk value addition, Abraham. Yes. Africa is generally an exporter of primary products, right? We export them in raw form. And the biggest conversation in a number of forums have been is how does Africa start to create value for its products? How do we start to create value for our coffee instead of taking it to the Europe or for the UK, for it to come back as processed Nescafe? Because obviously you realize that we can't, even as we trade with ourselves, we can't export raw coffee, for instance, to Cameroon. We will add more value if you're exporting processed coffee in a Nescafe format to Cameroon. How does Africa tackle this issue of value addition?
You see, once you put this issue of the FTA to bed, then then what will happen is Africa becomes one market. So basically, you're talking about $1 trillion market. So it's very easy now to bring in the Nescafes to produce their coffee from here or from various points, the coffee growing areas, because they know to start with, they have a 52-country market. Yeah. With no restrictions to movement of those commodities. People. So now, and it will go for everything. Your pyrethrum, you bring the Johnson & Johnson, their kits. So every other, and as a policy, none of our products will leave here at all, because we'll have a market for each of them in value-added form. Yeah. And you can imagine what that will do to the country, to the economy of Africa, and of the producing country.
Yes, absolutely. But Africa also, I mean, I give an example of, like, for instance, Ivory Coast and Ghana, the two largest producers of cocoa in the world. Yes. And between the two of them, producing about 60% of cocoa production in the world. I mean, they've been talking about having an OPEC for cocoa between the two of them, because the two giants. Yes. How do you get these guys to start producing their own chocolate and bring it to Nairobi? Because one of the biggest arguments that cost of doing business generally in Africa is still high. How do we bring down our cost of doing business? Especially you start with things like infrastructure, movement of products, and also energy.
You see, the good thing with this free trade, it doesn't stop at tariffs. Yeah. You're talking about humans can move freely, the space is open, the airspace.
So the skills transfer.
Yeah, so that means in that space you have passenger and you have cargo. So you can move your cargo easily around. Now for those two countries you've mentioned, the West African countries, they produce 60% of the cocoa. So the problem is most of our African products, our African commodities, it is the buyers that determine the price.
Yeah.
Not the producers.
Yes.
You see, with oil, it is the producers that determine price.
Actually, you're right.
And they also even determine price by determining the quantities they produce.
That's true.
So, and they sit, and it's a cartel, and they don't hide it. For oil, the name is OPEC.
The middle.
It's all known to all of us.
Yes.
And they'll tell you we are going to restrict supply, and they don't hide. So, if these guys are controlling 60%, they can say from today, if you don't come and produce it from here, then you don't get it at all.
In fact, the latest from the two West African countries, they've actually agreed to fix a minimum price.
Yes,
for
they can
a ton of cocoa.
For starters.
Yes,
but now they can incentivize and tell people, if you produce it from here, we'll sell it to you cheaper, and you'll see what will happen.
Yeah,
all the companies will move from Switzerland,
yeah,
and go there and produce the cocoa from there.
Yeah, and
their market is there. Don't forget, and they still have the European market,
yeah,
intact.
Yeah.
And again, thanks to the free movement of the free movement air movement, it's very easy to ship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I remember Nigeria in 2016 when they had the currency crisis.
Yes.
And the Central Bank of Nigeria actually moved in to restrict importation, actually not even restrict, to ban importation of 41 items.
Yes.
And they said these items, they are very unnecessary, and included, Nigeria used to import tons and millions of tons of Thai rice in Nigeria itself.
Yes.
It's a big producer of rice.
Yes.
And the Central Bank said you no longer allow importation of rice.
Yes. Yes.
And part of it, okay, the intention was to actually bring some stability in the FX market. But they ended up achieving a lot with it, actually. For instance, I could tell you, I mean, when I was in Nigeria that time, the Temis, which is a US conglomerate producing corn, has actually had to move production to Nigeria.
Yes.
That helps because they realize, because Nigeria is a big market for them.
Yes.
They had to actually shift the production to Nigeria.
Yeah,
because how important is
whenever the producer is king.
Yeah.
But for agricultural produce, I don't know how this thing was started, including coffee.
The middlemen.
Yeah, coffee. All these things are controlled by the buyers.
Yeah.
It is not there, because like if you see, like for coffee, the IOC is constituted of buyers, not of sellers. And the guys who actually decide how much coffee, a kilo of coffee is going to cost. So when Africa comes in as a group, we are selling our coffee as one. Because see, we can actually have all our coffee into one.
Yeah.
So I think for me this move is brilliant.
Yeah.
In terms of taking us where we want to go. Because the moment we all keep in our silos, in our small
the silo system.
The small silos.
The small silos.
That's why no wonder they come, and they come for us all the time. Because they put in that silo, they work on you separately, they put on that silo, they work on it separately. But if you're all together, then you have one voice, $1 trillion voice.
That's $1 trillion, and that's very significant, because then Africa can actually negotiate, as a free trade area, they can negotiate a block deal.
Yes.
Some of the trading measures, like the EU.
Yes.
And you know, coming out of the EU.
And you know, this block will be the largest in the world. It will surpass the EU. It will surpass the American one. Yeah. So it's
the NAFTA.
The
NAFTA 2.0.
Yes. So it's something that when I look forward, I think it's what we've been waiting for.
Yeah. I think, for instance, if you look at Nigeria, is doing a 600,000 barrels per day refinery, being sponsored by Dangote. Yes. We can actually look forward to Kenya buying refined products from Nigeria, as opposed to buying Maban products from Abu Dhabi. And
you see, with Nigeria now, where Nigeria is located geographically, we may not have even an aviation. We'll just do good pipelines. Yeah. And we'll be able to refine and export processed, not necessarily buy it crude.
Yeah.
Yes.
The processed.
Yeah. So that so we have a policy of everybody is adding value to whatever they're producing before they sell it. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's the only way you maximize value. Yeah. Otherwise, value is transferred to the people who don't produce. Switzerland now is the biggest chocolate market manufacturer, and they don't grow a single tree of cocoa. They don't. They absolutely. They get all from Ivory Coast and Ghana. You see. They don't. Yeah. And even in French, the French chocolate. Yes. They don't. So something. So Africa, I think this will awaken a lot of things. Yeah. Even our minerals, how they're exploited, will change. The mineral is a classical case. Yes, it's a classical case. And because you see, like now, anything that is extractive, depending on the policy a country has, they can use that to take them to the next level where the economy does not depend on that extracted material, because anything extracted has an exhaust by date.
Yeah.
So what you do?
It's finite.
Yes, it's finite. So anything that is finite, you ensure that by the time it runs out, your economy has already taken off.
Yeah.
On another platform.
On another
another platform of trade.
Dubai classic.
Yes, Dubai is classic.
Dubai
does not need oil now.
Yeah.
Dubai is purely trade.
And an aviation hub.
Yes.
And you think that if you, for instance, talking about aviation, let's talk about open skies.
Yes. You see, for a long time, Africans, everybody has closed their skies.
Yes. Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, and this has created ridiculous scenarios.
Yeah.
Where if I want to go to a North African country, I have to go to Europe and then come down, or go to Dubai, then come. Or if I use Africa, I do maybe 6 stops. I'm hopping, and it will take me 3 days.
Yeah.
Whereas, and you find the only reason that there's no direct flight is because those 2 countries don't have an agreement to open their skies between them. But imagine a scenario where now we open our skies with this agreement, whereby the protocol is very clear. If I want to know, if I want to fly to a certain country, the conditions are pre-agreed, and they are not onerous. Then we'll have, even in terms of tourism, the biggest beneficiary would be tourism.
Yeah.
Because when humans
we need to have
for leisure,
yes,
yeah. When people can move easily for leisure, yeah, then it becomes easier to make money from tourism.
Yes. I mean, I was in Lome, for instance,
yes.
and some of my hosts, they want to do a safari in Kenya. Yes. It's something they've heard about.
Yes.
Go see the wildebeest migration, which is currently going. But when they think about the movement, coming from Lome, yes, to Nairobi, it's onerous.
It's a long haul. Actually, yes. it may take them longer than somebody coming from Toronto.
Yeah. I flew from Lome to Addis and Addis to Nairobi. It's a total of about 8 hours.
Yes.
That's the flight time to London.
Yes, you see.
So, and the cost?
Yes.
The cost.
I'm sure the cost must be higher than a Nairobi-London trip.
Yes. I tell you.
Because they know they're the only ones doing that trip.
Yes.
So you take it or leave it.
But also, how much of how much of aviation politics is into that prohibitive cost? And I'm talking about aviation politics, things with taxation.
You see, with the
overflying tax, landing
because it's a fact of all those things. One is demand and supply.
Yeah.
If that route they are the only ones, they'll charge whatever they want. Yeah. But also they have to factor in their landing fees, yes, their parking fees,
the overflying fees.
But now you see all those fees. Okay, the landing and parking will remain, but the overfly fees will go away.
But why should countries charge overflying fees?
You see, again, as I'm telling you,
it's a very legacy issue.
It's legacy, and also it is very short-sighted, because you're basically you're milking something that is dying.
Yeah.
But if you allow many planes to overpass you, then some of them will dock in, and so
fuel there.
Yes, just make your money on landing, and also those landing fees also should also not be onerous, because there's some countries where the landing fees are ridiculous. Yes, but because you need to go to those countries, you have to put up those costs.
Look at the EU, for instance, on aviation. They've opened it up. You even have no frills, low budget airlines that have built their name on just low fare charges and operating within the EU.
Yes.
Low taxes, low regulation. You can't think about having budget airlines in Africa operating within Africa. I mean, the other day, Jambo Jet wanted to fly to Burundi, and you remember? I'm sure you read.
Yes, I did, and they said
the country demanded.
They want the KQ one.
Yes,
I saw. You see,
they even demanded the kind of aircraft that should be flying into there.
You see, a low-cost carrier model can only work. It actually would thrive in this FTA arrangement, because it is so cost-conscious that tipping it from making money or not making money is a very thin line.
Yes.
So it will thrive in this arrangement. But with the current, the way we are made now, the low-cost carriers, you'll find they're either within a country or within a very short locality of a country.
Kenya, Tanzania.
Yes.
Only.
But you imagine a scenario where now that goes away.
Yeah.
Then Jambo Jet can do Morocco, can do wherever. So because it's a model. It's a low-cost model.
Yes. It's been commoditized.
Yes. So you know that if I book early, but I know if I change it, I lose my whole ticket. So you get in knowing what you're doing. But they're constrained by how low they can put their costs, given the macro environment they're operating
Yes.
in. Yes.
The tough terrain.
Yes, because especially the tariff environment they're operating in. So if you put that down, then now you level the field.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk single currency on one last chapter. Single currency, I know we touched a bit earlier on. The ECOWAS member countries have decided to come up with a single currency. They're calling it ECO. Yeah, ECO. Eco Bank. Eco. Eco Bank later was an ECOWAS bank actually.
Yes.
So they've got a single currency called ECO. But there's a problem because the West African, the ECOWAS member states, about 8 of them were in the French, the Francophone zone, which they had a single currency. They're calling the CFA franc.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, and it's the CFA franc regime is honestly is very prohibitive because the French, they say that because they've guaranteed a peg of the CFA franc to the euro, then they tell the member countries that you have to maintain X amount of reserves with the Banque de France. So you find that most of this, the French, the Francophone zone, they have to keep certain amount of reserves that's sitting in the Banque de France to guarantee continue to guarantee the peg. Do you think, which is very prohibitive, and there's been growing calls as the population becomes more aware and aware, the population demand that they strip off that relationship. Do you think the launching the eco currency, essentially, would it be beneficial? Have they jumped the gun at ECOWAS member state? You
see, with the eco, the big question is, does it in any way answer the issues you've just raised? Does it, because see, it's symptomatic of when you try and jump any of these steps.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to build a currency on top of a layer that is not uniform.
Yeah.
And again, you cannot have your currency controlled by somebody else.
Yes.
Especially if you're a group of you.
Yeah.
And especially somebody who not necessarily have your interest at heart.
Yeah.
So I think they're at liberty to do what they're doing. But I think once the FTA, I mean the free trade area takes traction, I think it will overtake that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Abraham.
Thank you
it's
very
nice
much.
having you. It's always nice having you.
Thank you very much.
Very insightful discussion.
Yes.
Abraham. That was Abraham Kamau, the CEO of Miradi Capital, taking us through the free trade area, the continental free trade area. Nigeria is about to join the continental free trade area in the upcoming AUC meet. Just something out to look out for. We'll keep you updated on that. And look out for the potential impacts of the free trade area into local economy and external position. That's it from us. We leave you with market close figures and see you on Monday. Have a nice weekend.